Hey everyone, it's SG Holyman, and welcome to this podcast that I have not named yet. I'll get there eventually. Don't worry about it. Joining me is my friend Barz, and this is a podcast where we're going to talk about games and just some other stuff as it comes up. Maybe, like movies, TV, and whatnot. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, Barz.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Barz. Been a friend of Holyman's here for, jeez, dude, what is it? Since Destiny days, right?
Right, since like a weeks after the first raid came out, Vaulted
So
Glass.
it's right. So it's like what, 3 years?
Something like that. You and a few other friends just dancing around me as I was in the pause menu, they contemplating about quitting Destiny. Those are the days.
It was, man. It was back in the day.
hmm But we will get to that a little later because we have some things to talk about Destiny. But for now, I think we're gonna get into the news for the week. Just letting you guys know that we are recording this on Thursday night. So if something happens on Friday, sorry we missed it. So we will get that for the next week. But the first item I have in the news is PlayStation had their State of Play, and if you guys didn't watch it or you didn't know, it is basically PlayStation Direct, and I, for one, really liked it. I know the reception was mixed, but I really liked that it was about 20 minutes long. They cut out all the fat. It was basically a mini E3, and they had not a lot to show, but what they showed was interesting. A lot of VR, um, and yeah, I really liked it. I also liked the little gameplay trailer they showed for Days Gone, a little bit more of the story, and the Mortal Kombat trailer at the end was pretty cool. What'd you think about it, Bars?
It wasn't too bad. It's mixed feelings for me because like the state of plays are like the Nintendo Directs. Like it's awesome that we get to see like the sneak peeks of stuff coming up and see some visuals of games and whatnot. But my one thing that I just don't like about it is the fact that E3 is kind of been it's like tradition, you know. It's always been around for years and years and years, and I feel like it's dwindling now, and I feel like it's just going to be discontinued. And that's kind of the thing for me. Like, but I mean, as in general, the state of play, it's awesome. You know, I can't really complain.
Yeah, um, I am a really big fan of E3, and I like everybody kind of showing up. Um, and it is kind of sad that this is the way the industry is going. But at the same time, I think if they do what Nintendo does and they have like a 40-minute direct for E3, I think that can make up for it. Because I don't think Sony needs to have a huge stage for it. Like, I don't think they need to actually hold a press conference. I think they can just put out a video and have that be their E3 press conference. And I would personally prefer that. Just take away some of the weirdness of having a live press conference, um, and just do what they've been doing, but just do it in video format where it's just trailer, 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 and let's just get on, like make it quick and snappy. Um,
Right.
but I will say this is their first outing. I don't know how often they're gonna plan on doing this. I hope it's once every 2 months, maybe. That'd be a good
How many
pace.
times does a Nintendo do their directs? Like a year.
Um, they usually have one in January. They have one. I think the next big one is E3, and then they'll have one in August. So it's three big
See,
ones a
that's
year.
the format I would like it to be in. Like the beginning of the year, then middle-ish of the year, and then like one more for the end of the year.
Yeah, and then usually throughout the months, if they have like a big game coming up, like Pokemon or Fire Emblem, they'll have like a direct specifically for that, and it'll be about 15 minutes just focusing on that. So I think Sony could do that too.
Which I think Nintendo is pretty successful with theirs, isn't it? Like with their directs, I think they're highly popular.
hmm And yeah, I think Sony could. do that too. And then I know Xbox is doing that too, but I mean, it's Xbox. I don't know.
Right.
I am joking, guys. I know there's people who like Xbox.
The rare few of you.
Hmm.
I think VR really shined out a lot on this one. There's a lot of VR games, I feel like.
Yeah, there was. We don't have VR, but it's something I like to keep up with, and it's cool that Sony's still supporting it. I know they did put a lot of money into it, but I think that just them continuing to support it and they're not going to just give up on it is a good sign going forward. And I hope we do get VR2. And if it is wireless, then I might pick that up. But maybe depending on the price, you know.
I feel like VR was dead on arrival. I think the concept was really cool, but we just didn't have enough games for it, per se.
Yeah, like there was Resident Evil 7, and then it was a lot of tech demos. And
Yeah, like
then,
I think it was a test trial more than anything than an actual full-on release of a finished product.
yeah. Although I did kind of expect that going in. So maybe if they do like PlayStation VR 2, we can actually start to see that, like more games come to
Right.
it. But um, I don't think I have anything else more to say about PlayStation State of Play. Do you? I
Not
think,
really. I mean, there was. It's kind of like I said, just like their directs, like Nintendo directs. It's cool to see some of the games that are coming out, but I feel like half of it, if not a little bit more than half, was all VR related stuff, and I've never been a fan of those things since they came out.
yeah. So hopefully in the future we get to see more PlayStation State of Play and they more diversify it. So we'll see. But anyway, moving on. The PlayStation Plus lineup was announced, and we have The Surge and Conan Exiles coming out on Tuesday. I always add the games to library. I never really download them unless it's something I really want to play. I might download The Surge, maybe because I've heard some people like it, but I don't know. I just
I
kind
felt the
of,
same way.
yeah. Conan Exiles I won't touch, but I'll still add it.
Yeah, I would. I won't even remotely touch that. I saw some gameplay of that. It looks wonky. It looks bad. And I've heard that it's just not the greatest game ever. Now that it's free, sure, but still will not touch that.
Yeah. Um, I wonder. I don't think it is because I know the Surge actually got DLC, so I wonder. I doubt the DLC will be free too. But
I doubt it. Which the Surge had to have done at least somewhat decent, or at least pretty good, just because they are coming out with a second one.
yeah, I'm trying to remember the. I think it got like sevens if I remember right. So it must have been made cheap too, because I don't remember the studio who makes it.
Oh
But
gosh, I don't. I'm always bad with remembering those things.
I think it was the guys who made Lords of the Fallen. Remember that
Which I
game?
know that game. Yeah, I never really touched it either. But
I played it for an hour, and I was like, "You are blatantly ripping off Dark Souls, and I am not touching you." So,
yeah, I saw what the backlash was on for that game. Although supposedly the first one was really good, though, wasn't it? The very first one.
um, Lords of Shadow, Lords of Fallen,
I
or
thought
this.
there was a there was a first game for that, and then that one was like the second or third one.
I think you're talking about. There's another game where it's like you play as like a goblin, and like you're a
Okay.
sneaky goblin. The first one wasn't great. The second one was supposedly really good, though. I know what you're talking about.
I must be getting
Um,
confused with it because I was thinking it was like a part of the whole Lord of the Rings thing.
no, uh, that's Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, I think.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right.
So many shadows. I don't know. I can't keep up anymore. Um, but anyway, today the Borderlands trailer came out, officially announcing Borderlands 3. I'm
Hype,
excited. I know.
hype, hype. Oh, it's gonna be so good. The trailer alone was amazing. I think the only complaint I have, and this is just me nitpicking just to find something, is the fact that, like, don't get me wrong, the art style is nice. It's amazing. It's cool. It's what gives Borderlands its like signature thing.
Hmm.
But I was just hoping that maybe we can like get a little bit further down that road. Maybe graphically just look a little bit more better than just the still painted on cartoon theme. Because that's, like I said, it's good that they keep with it, but I just feel like if we're gonna try and progress or do something a little bit more, like at least just make it look a little bit better.
Yeah. Um, I think they even made a new engine for it too. Uh, I
How
think it
many
looked.
Borderlands games deep are we now? We're like what, 4 or 5?
Um, there's two, no, three mainline ones because we had Borderlands 1, 2, the pre-sequel, and then Tales from the Borderlands technically is part of this. So there's Telltale's R.I.P. Tales of the Borderlands, which is really good, and I think you should play it because I think you would really like that. It's very funny. And then we have Borderlands 3, um, but I need to finish Borderlands 2. I think we only got half. I don't even think it was halfway.
I think
We,
didn't we both buy the Handsome Collection or Handsome Edition, I think is what it's called?
yeah, we bought the
So we got the first
Handsome.
2 games and then like the runoff one or the whatever you want to call them.
No, it was just Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. We didn't even get Borderlands 1.
Hmm.
And then we got to the point where it was like a giant bird boss fight. You know what I'm talking about?
It's been so long, I couldn't even tell you.
Because that's the last boss fight I remember is that there was a giant bird that you had to fight. And that's the last point that we played. And then I went and played with a friend, and then that didn't go anywhere. Maybe I'll pick it up again. I say that a lot, but I know I won't. That's so much to do. But
Just like Dark Souls. I mean, not Dark Souls, but
Bloodborne?
Bloodborne.
Hey man.
Hard choke. Hard choke.
So Dreams Early Access is a thing.
I don't
I
even know what the
know.
hell that is.
So Dreams was announced. Oh shit, my pencil. Dreams was announced way back when the PS4 was actually announced. There was like a weird puppet show, uh, like thing that they did on stage, and that was actually the announcement for Dreams. It's made by Media Molecule, Sony's first-party studio. They're the guys who make. They made Little Big Planet, and they made Tearaway.
I
And this
remember
is
Little Big Planet.
Tearaway was for the Vita. I know your girlfriend liked it. It was like the.
Oh yeah, it's like maybe you could like the map was built out of puzzles or something like that, right? Or the character was built out of puzzles.
It was like the character was built like cardboard paper or something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, very creative. And I know, like, Dreams was like weird what they were like how they were explaining it, but there was a beta that happened, and a lot of people got were actually like played around with it, and they got to see the creation tools and all that, and they got really excited for it. And now this early access thing is happening. I didn't look too much into it, but what I'm imagining is that you get full access to the creative side of things. So that's pretty cool. I'm probably am gonna pick up Dreams simply because I always pick up Sony first party. Hopefully it's good, and hopefully it does well enough that Media Molecule can still be a studio. My gut tells me that they may be in jeopardy, but I hope that's not the case because I actually really like Media Molecule. Because I didn't play Tearaway, but it looked interesting. And then I actually really like Little Big Planet because it's very creative and very fun. I don't mess around with the creative side of Little Big Planet, but I've always liked the platforming. So
Yeah, I remember playing the first and second one. I don't think I ever beat them, but I know that I played them for a few hours and I really enjoyed what I did play.
yeah. Um, then I actually don't have a lot to say. Just if you guys are getting into early access, just let me know. And um, as I said, hopefully Media Molecule can do well enough with this game to make their next game, and hopefully it won't take as long as it is. So, and then finally, for the news of the week, EA had another round of layoffs. They're laying off about 350 people. Um, Hopefully everybody lands on their feet, and it just sucks to hear. And it's been happening a lot recently, and I know it is part of the market, but it just sucks what's going on.
I do feel like it's for the best. I think they'll end up going somewhere else that'll at least treat them more better. And EA has a reputation on its own, so I feel like it was just for the best. So I think it was a solid win for them, and I do hope that they, like you said, end up going somewhere as well.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I should have looked into it more. This is my bad on my end, but I think it was a lot of like the marketing. I think it was a lot of marketing or something. So I don't know. They can go to Xbox and hopefully I'm gonna take a lot of jabs at Xbox. But um, anyway, that is it for the news. So now let's get on to I I labeled this talking points. I think we should just call it topic of the show. Uh, I've had this going like rumbling around in my mind for a while. I want to talk about the state of Destiny 2. Um, where what we're in the second season, we've gotten most of what we're gonna get out of Season of the Drifter, and we're about what 3-ish, no 3-4 months into their experimental annual pass, and I have mixed feelings about Destiny 2.
Yeah, I'm probably on the same road with you. It's a really rocky road, especially just because you and I have a history with it. It's where we met, and it's probably where we spend the majority of our time together. We do play some other games here and there, but I mean, as you know, time as its whole, we probably spend it all here.
Yeah,
And I think I think Destiny, if you were a solo player, Destiny 2 didn't really have a whole lot for you then, you know? It's
no,
just the game's designed to be co-op, and for some odd reason, Destiny 2 just did not focus on solo whatsoever. Anyone who plays this game solo, I props to you, man. Like the attention span is gotta be very, very, very big. But
yeah,
I just can't do it. This whole annual pass thing, I get it. They were only $15 each technically, so what we get, I don't know. Because I can sit here and think about times back in the day where $15 for an expansion got me, story missions and all kinds of stuff. And I would be engulfed in it for, weeks, maybe months. I mean,
hmm
just for instance, I know it's terrible, but like The Witcher 3, everyone always compares it to that, but it for a good reason because how much was the very first like big expansion for that game? Wasn't it like 15, $20?
I think it was even. I think it was $20, but the first expansion was big on its own, and then it was Blood and Wine was $40, but Blood and Wine was its own game. And I know
Yeah,
it's
Blood
apples to
and Wine was
oranges,
entirely
but
whole game for $40. And even for the previous expansion for $20, I probably got more out of that game for $20 than I with Destiny's entire annual pass combined.
yeah. And as I said, it is apples to oranges, but expansions are expansions. Um, and then I'm trying to think because I was also thinking about it too. I think the thing I like about the annual pass is that the story for like what's going on, like with Black Armory, and then what they're doing with the Drifter, and then like the Invitations of the Nine. I think that's all fantastic, and like it feels like the story's progressing every week. And like they did this too with Mara's Court, where every 3 weeks you would go in and something different would happen. And it would just give you a reason to come back to just see what would happen. I like that stuff. However, I was thinking about it. I think I like just the base expansions, like what they did with House of Wolves and all that, better, simply because you got all your stuff up front, and then once you hit max light and you got everything you wanted to get, you could take a break from Destiny. And now I just feel like I'm on a treadmill, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, yeah, because they always release something every week, and whether it be tiny or somewhat moderate, I mean, the whole drip feeding concept. I hate it. I do not like it whatsoever. Reason why is because if you release something for 1 week, it's always tiny. It's always something you can do in like 2 or 3 hours, and then you're done, and then you have to wait. Which, like, that puts you on that treadmill theory, like you said. I mean, you're always having to come back to it because there's always something that they're throwing in there, but it's such a small, minute offering that they give us, and I just
Yeah,
don't like it. I hate it.
yeah. I'm like I was sitting there and I was trying to think of the ways maybe they could fix this, because I kind of think this is a little bit of a holdover from the Activision thing before they split. So maybe this will change, maybe it won't. But what I'm thinking is that they go back to the original expansions. So God forbid Curse of Osiris, but better, and just stuff like that.
Well,
Um,
hell, I mean, Curse of Osiris had more content than even one of these annual DLC pass things here.
that's a stretch, but
Season
yes.
like season of the Drifter here. What we got two new like one game mode, no, two game modes, I guess technically.
Hmm.
One's like a wave survival thing, and then the other one is just a advanced version of a mode we already have.
That's not good.
Other than that, we have one armor set to show for it. We have what 6 to 8 normal guns like legendaries, and then
Yeah,
two
well,
exotics. And then the
yes.
exotics, when it comes to armor, was just one arm piece for each class. I just don't like it, man. I just think
Yeah.
Curse of Osiris had at least multiple armor sets, multiple guns. They had the forge where we could go and, or not the forge, but
The
I forget what they were called, where we go
the
and collect things to make certain guns. But right there in itself, there's probably like 30 new guns, and then the exotics, there's at least 2 or 3 for each class.
hmm along
And
with the
Curse of Osiris
colony,
was how much?
like $20.
20, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I know somewhere down the line it can be done. Like for $15 to $20, I should be able to get more story and a lot more than what we're getting for this annual pass. Because $15 for what we get right now is just not doing it. And
Yeah,
how they compensate for that is by drip feeding it to us, and that's even worse.
yeah. I think I think the best fix that they can do is to go back to that original model. However, like for at least a month or maybe a month and a half, maybe even two, they have a story mission every week. Because, like I said, I do like that the story missions come out every week, but I think it should be $20, and it's just like the old ones where you have the base story missions and everything just comes out at once, so you can do it, and then
Right.
like I think that's probably the best compromise. We'll see what they do, because I think this was an experiment. It's not working, but you know,
My dilemma with Destiny with the story is what it was even with the first game, is that the all of its story is lost in the whole Grimoire system, or where you had to go onto the computer and actually read the cards on their website and stuff. Like you would learn about the story through an outside source and not through the game itself. Here in Destiny 2, yes, we do get to read the lore now. We get to have the Grimoire in the game. But I just feel like if they would just put more time into missions, because the whole Cade backstory was amazing. The Joker with the Drifter, his little backstory is amazing. But we don't. No one like. I guess I can't say no one, but I would say the majority of the community is not going to go and read these things. A lot of times they don't want to go and read about the story. They want to experience it. And that's where it's a little bit lackluster because we don't really have a huge story in Destiny. We get the basis of it, and then we have to rely on the items to tell us the rest of the game.
Yeah, I see your point. And I agree with you. I'm trying to think.
Just think of how much content we would have if we had all that lore in the game with the actual missions or the characters.
Yeah, yeah. I just, I think if it was more like Mass Effect. Like, did you play Mass Effect? I don't think you did you?
I played I played the third one, and I think I played it a few times because that was because wasn't the third one the first one for the PS4 series or PS3 series?
No, the second one was the first one for.
Oh, okay. So then I played the second one then.
Okay. Second one was the best one.
That's what I heard. So I'm glad I actually jumped on that train because I mean, I know it was amazing. I really did like Mass Effect. I thought it was really cool and like how in depth that story is. But that's another thing. Like if Mass Effect can do it, I don't see why Destiny can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't see why any game for that matter can't have a rich story. Now, I don't care if a game takes 6 to 8 years to come out, but if it comes out like a Mass Effect, oh, I mean, I would be glad to wait 6 to 8 years for a game like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mass Effect, what's the replay value on Mass Effect with all the choices that you can make and the endings that you can have?
Oh yeah,
Same
it's
thing
very
goes for
high.
Witcher. Witcher's got how many endings? Like 30 something?
It's not 30, but it's like 3. Well, I
Oh,
guess
I
a
thought it
few.
was like,
Now, like, it's 3 main endings, and then it's like little flavor stuff in each one, but it's mainly 3.
okay, well, I mean, the fact that you can make those choices for yourself and decide how the game ends, that's replay value right there in itself. And I'll take a game that has replay value over any game, any day.
Yeah. But anyway, linking it back to Destiny, um, I do think that's what they should strive to do with the story, is to make it like Mass Effect, where you can get a lot of the lore and you can get a lot of really good story, and I know Bungie is capable of doing this, but then you could have the Codex, where if you want to go deeper, you can go deeper into the lore, but you don't have to. But in Destiny, you do have to read to get the full context, and that is a problem.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't want to play a video game to read. That's what, school is for, or the library is for. When people play video games, I don't think they play so that they can read a entire encyclopedia about something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, Destiny is just in a weird state for us right now because we're not fans of Gambit for context.
No, so I feel like this DLC part of the annual pass was a complete waste. I think it was awful.
Yeah,
That's why I
and
said Destiny is a mixed bag for us, man, because we have memories attached to it, and we do have fun playing it. Like, don't get me wrong, we love playing it. We have so much fun when we play.
yeah, it's
But
one of the best shooters, like
yeah,
mechanically, on the market. Like, I will defend this game like for its mechanics. It's really fun to play, but it has
exactly,
problems.
exactly. And I just I think they're easy fixes too, because this game could be really, really, really amazing if it just fixed the tiny little things. Like
Hmm.
Destiny 2, why don't we have a new faction to fight? Why is there not like new enemies to fight? Yes, I know we'll get it in like a later expansion, but I mean Destiny 2. it's supposed to be a continuation of the first game. Like there should be stuff added to it. I feel like when Destiny 2 came out, it was bare bones. And we took even steps backwards from the first game.
Yeah, that is weird to think, because I was just thinking about it too. Like, Destiny Vanilla, like when it first came out, I think I had more fun with that than launch Destiny 2, even though launch Destiny 2 was better than vanilla Destiny. It's
Right, I get what you're
weird.
saying.
Um, I don't know, but I do know this. I am actually going to take a break from Destiny. Like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, plus the content that's coming out, it's so tiny that I could probably wait an entire month for the next
Coming
Annual
back.
Pass to come out, and then come back and play it after it's all released, because then I have all of my content at once rather than being drip fed and having me come back, once or twice every week. And it's just that repetitive, like you said, treadmill is just, it burns you out.
Hmm.
And you're thinking, it's like, oh my God, if there's only 2 to 3 hours of content, like, how are you burnt out? And it's like, well, because the game is forcing me to come back to it every week.
To
And
play
it's having me
them.
do the same stuff for such tiny, tiny rewards.
Yep. Like, it's the new
Like if there's a
content.
lot of new stuff, then yeah, heck yeah, I wouldn't have any issue coming back and playing every week. But if I
Hmm.
come back every week for 2 hours just to earn one gun or two pieces of armor or something,
Yep.
it's not worth the time.
Yep. And then on top of that, you gotta go back and you gotta do all your milestones, which that in itself is a grind. And it's just like,
Yeah,
so I don't know, man. Like, we'll see about the future. But for now, I think me and you are just gonna take a break from Destiny and go play some other games, which I think it's gonna be nice. So,
yeah, because I'm already caught up with the division and I'm loving every moment of that. I know you're not a fan, but it's really rich in material.
yeah.
It's a huge improvement from the first game, but and then we've got Days Gone coming here not too far from now, which is going to
Hmm.
be another big one for us. And I know you'll
Uh,
probably pick up some games in between now and then, but I think that's the closest thing I got to a new thing for me.
yeah, there's also Mortal Kombat, but you're probably not gonna pick that up.
Yeah, I can never justify those games just because I can only sit and mash the same two buttons repeatedly over and over again in the tiny little arena before after like 3 or 4 rounds, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I'm bored. And then I won't come back to that game for probably weeks, if not months later, to play two more matches and then put it down again for another 2 or so months. So I just don't get invested in it.
Yeah. Um, so that's actually a pretty good discussion. Uh, so trying to think of a good transition. Sorry, guys, first podcast problems here. But um, if we had fans, I think this is where fan mail would go. But we don't have fans, so we'll just move on from there.
Give it time.
I know. Uh, so we're just gonna move on to new releases for next week. So we have Assassin's Creed. Actually, these are all coming out tomorrow, but I looked it up. There's really nothing coming out next week. Well, I mean there is, but I'm trying to stick to like big, like releases people would care about. But tomorrow we're getting Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, arguably the worst one, but I know some people like it.
3
Um,
was the Indian, right?
yeah, it was like this, not the Civil War, the American Revolution.
I enjoyed 3.
Yeah, it was okay, but I couldn't get into the story, which sucks because I actually really like American history. But
Right. I still think the best one is the very first game.
um,
I
I
like
like
that time period with the Templars and the Crusades and stuff. That was amazing. Plus, I mean, the game itself was it. it did good. It performed good. The mechanics were nice. The story was good. I mean, I think what the second one was.
Second
Uh,
one was Italy.
right, Ezio,
Ezio,
in
yeah, and then the Ezio trilogy.
which I didn't mind Ezio's. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. But I mean, it was a step up when it came to new features and mechanics and whatnot. It definitely stepped up its game there. And then
Yeah,
with the third one being Connor as the Indian, that time period is just really cool. And then, but when it came to mechanics, though, I don't really think they improved or did a whole lot. And then
no, it was
pretty
pretty
much
much
after
just
that, yeah, after that, it just kind of stopped on the mechanics and was just switching the time periods up.
yeah, except for four, Black Flag. Black Flag was actually really good, but then it was
Oh, yeah.
after that though is when it was pretty much just copy paste. Yeah. But getting back to the first one, I agree with you in the story sense. I think the first one's probably the best story. I just think it gets too repetitive. And then,
Aren't they? Don't they all, though?
yeah, that's Ubisoft.
Because how many of those like tall buildings do you have to crawl to scan the area, and how many missions is it that you got to go kill this target by using this pretty much the same mechanics every time? They offer different ways to kill them, but you generally always end up using the same one, which is like either jumping up way high down onto the target or coming up and just doing a little stealth attack on them, you know?
Yep. So a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
I well, I'll talk about that later. But we also got Tropico 6 coming out tomorrow. I don't think you or me play Tropico. That's the
Yeah, I was never a fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the best way to ruin a friendship right there. And then Yoshi's Crafted World comes out tomorrow. Um, if I had a Switch, I'd probably pick it up, but um,
My lady's a huge fan of Yoshi, so but then again, she hasn't really talked about any Switch games as of late. She's still waiting for Animal
uh,
Crossing. Oh my gosh, I never hear the end of that.
I mean, I'm excited for Animal Crossing too, but uh, I should, we should probably ask her tomorrow if she's interested in Yoshi, because I heard this one's actually pretty good. Like I heard it's easy, but they're all easy. But
What do you do in this one?
um, I mean, it's a Yoshi platformer, except the twist is that everything's made out of uh, like crafting materials. So like, I think
Okay.
Yoshi's still yarn, but there's like colored pencils everywhere, and like everything's made out of cardboard, and like you can flip the levels, and there's like stuff you can do. So it's pretty neat, but it's a Yoshi game.
Which I've yet to play any of them, so I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah. And with that, I think we're getting close to the end of the show. But before we get out of here, I'll ask you, what do you think you're going to be playing this week?
Probably Division. Any spare moment I have, I'm pretty much on top of that game as of right now. That and probably Apex here and there with the friends.
Yeah. Uh, let's see here. For me, I got MLB 19 the show. Um, I might actually put time into it this year. I didn't put any time into MLB 18, but kind of want to play that. Dragon Ball Fighters had its recent patch. It's basically Dragon Ball Fighters Super Turbo now because pretty much every character's changed. Like it's a new game now, so I kind of want to jump back into that. Um, of course, I'm playing Sekiro on Twitch. Um, what else am I probably gonna play? Maybe Unist. I think it's been a couple weeks. I might hop back into Unist. And
I
I,
really wanted to like Sekiro, but I was expecting it to have like customization and more more optimizability to things to do other than just kind of follow this linear path and do the same thing over again.
yeah, I mean, I'll say it's pretty fun. And like, I'm trying to think of the way to explain it. like it is one path, but you got multiple options on that path. Like
Well,
that's
I look at it this way. Like, I mean, you probably won't see eye to eye on this one, but like the Uncharted series, great game. I hear nothing but great things about it. It's rated good. It makes a lot of money. It does well. It's well received. But it's a game to where you can watch someone play it and you will get the same end result as if you played it yourself.
mm,
And I can't waste my money on something that I can watch someone else do, and knowing that if I do the exact same thing, I'm going to get the same results anyways.
mm, yeah, that's just a difference of opinion.
Hmm.
Um, trying to think. I think that's pretty much all I'm going to be playing. I am glad to hear though that the division's doing well. Like it's doing better, but I like I can only do too many looter shooters. I guess I might also play Apex this week. I think it's been 3 weeks since I last played. Although
I
I'll fully,
Yeah, I think it's
uh,
been somewhere around there.
yeah, although I'll fully admit that I suck at that game.
And that it's one of those things to where, depending on who you play with, like I mean, most people play to win, and so when you play with people who don't have like the same drive, that's fine. Because if you're just
Yeah,
playing for fun, then it's a fun game. But like my work buddy Brandon that I play with, like, he only plays to win. He does not play anything for fun, and so playing with him is a nightmare. So that's where the issue is with Apex. Is I have a lot of friends that only want to play just to win, and then that's where a lot of stress and fighting and screaming and hollering comes in. To where the people who just play for fun, they're just walking around, jumping on stuff, playing with the abilities, using ults for no reason, just enjoying it. And then that's
yeah,
that's just kind of the thing with that game.
yeah. I will say it is my favorite battle royale, but even
I
then, I
haven't
don't.
really, I think this is, yeah, actually, yeah, I think it is actually. Because I didn't touch Fortnite. I never played a millisecond of that damn thing. And I know that that was probably the one that popularized that battle mode.
Yeah, it's funny how that worked out because trying to think because PUBG was the first one that like brought it to light. Fortnite took the ball and ran, and now we're at Apex, and Apex is
Right,
fun,
which I think
but
Fortnite's already taken the lead again.
yeah,
That battle pass they just introduced with Apex was nothing was nothing to shout about, and I think that really hurt it. So now Fortnite's back at the top, I believe.
yeah, but even then, like, I mean, I just can't play that battle mode. Like, I can't do it. Like, I can do it in spurts, but I don't think I find it. I don't know. I'll have to form my opinion later on that because I
For
can't play
which
it for
one?
like just battle royale in general. Like,
Oh,
I just don't think it's a game mode I enjoy in long sessions. I think it's just a short spurt thing.
I'm starting to learn the repetitiveness of it. It's really fun to play, but after about 3 or 4 games, like I'm pretty much spent. I want to go play something else. And that, unfortunately, battle royales don't have anything to offer but the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah,
So I was really into it, and then but now I find myself playing, a few games a week.
yeah. So
It's another game to where if I didn't have any friends, I wouldn't be playing it.
yeah, that's definitely like Apex is fun, but I that's another one. Like I'm in the same boat with you. Like just because you and a few of my friends play it, like I'll play it, but it's not something I'd be playing otherwise. So,
Exactly.
And I think with that, we can call this an episode 1. Um, Let me write this down. 45 minutes. So, with that, thank you guys for listening or watching, even though this is just a static stream of me in orbit. But if you guys liked what you seen, you can go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at SGHolyman or on Twitch as SGHolyman. It's all SGHolyman. Underscores between the SG, G, and the H. You can follow Barzod nowhere because he does not do social media. So.
Hey.
And with that, thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next time. See ya.
Later.